Well, a hearty shalom to you, Jeffrey Seif here, working my way with you through the Torah. We're looking at Parashat Chukat, chapter 19 and 20 and on in the book Bamidbar, Numbers. Numbers is said to record the highlights of the wilderness journey, but frankly, in so many ways, it's the lowlights. It's a story of things gone wrong. Bnei Israel, the children of Israel, leave Sinai and make their way to Canaan. It just takes them a lifetime to get there. In fact, most don't get there. They got saved out of Egypt for an entrance into Canaan, and they died in between because of their unfaithfulness. Time and circumstance of people performing poorly. Have you ever noticed that it can take a toll on us? I mention that because in the 20th chapter, Moses is up to his neck in it all, and he's affected by it, and he's performing poorly as a result of it. Leadership is wrought with many perils because we work with people. And it's just the nature of the beast. People can be interesting, and I'm people myself, and I can be tough to lead, I know. We all have our thoughts, our feelings, our perspectives, and in environments where we're duty-bound to obey and comply with leaders, we kind of get in line. But congregational work is so voluntary in nature, we're the more so predisposed to give voice to our variant perspective and emotions, and that stuff goes up to whoever it is that's leading, who oftentimes get pulled in various directions and invokes a lot of ire, draws a lot of chagrin. It's just the nature of leading. And, ministers endeavor to hold it all together, but then people can say enough already. That's where Moses is right now. In chapter 20, we're told the congregation made their way to Kadesh. They were there before. It was a place of springs, but now they get there, it's all dried up, and people are peeved. You're out there in the wilderness, and food, staples, and water are very Spartan, and they were looking for better, and they didn't get it, and Moses hears about it. We're told in the text, as we read on in verse 2, there was no water. And the people are just fit to be tied. They quarreled, we're told in verse 3. Oh, why did you do this to us? You're killing us. Why have you brought us to this place? We're going to die here, us and our cattle. Look, fetching, it's a mess. We're told in verse 6 that Moses did what he did on more than one occasion. He just, what do you do with this? He just kind of breaks away and seeks the Lord, and the Lord tells him, take the staff and go speak to a rock. It's rather interesting in verse 7, and water's going to flow out of it. That's what he's supposed to do. Just go do that. Take the staff and, symbol of leadership. He's had it for a long time, and just go to this rock and speak to it. But Moses himself is so affected. There is the aggregate effect of years of disconsternation and things going wrong and it taking too long and him being blamed for it. He positions himself against the rock, and he's there in people's view, but we're told in verse 10, you can kind of see the fermenting discontent. Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly in front of the rock. He said, listen now, you rebels. That may be true to a certain extent, to a large extent, but the leader saying, listen to me, you rebels, listen to me, you punks. This isn't disciplining a population for their rebellion as much as it is someone just snapping out. This is minimally poor comportment. There's a way that we need to carry ourselves that reflects a kind of dignity and a kind of discipline. And here this old boy's coming unglued. You rebels, you make me sick. And then he's going to take the staff and just beat the rock twice. He's snapping out at them with his words. And then that translates with him just kind of slapping away at the rock. That's not what he was supposed to do. This is a man who has come unglued. Been there. Let's be honest. You probably have too. People can sometimes, as I noted, be extremely difficult. In fact, if you look at what becomes of individuals that become rabbis and reverends, you'd be surprised after a number of years, people just say enough already. There's a lot of enthusiasm for the task of leading, and they go into the Lord's service and then get out of Dodge in reasonably short order. The pay's low, the stress is high. Hey, listen, I'll sell insurance. People look for another way to take care of their business because the business of leading God's people can be rather trippy. I don't know if you've ever been around a minister who looks at the community, look, you rebels. They might not say as much, but there's a sense in which it's over. There's a sense in which the leader has lost the principal grace that goes along with the chair. I like to say, if you're going to lead the orchestra, you have to turn your back on the choir. It happens. I like to say the only way to avoid criticism is to say nothing, be nothing, and do nothing. And those that are situated on leadership perches have opportunity to make decisions, and hopefully the things that we do right outperform the things that we do wrong. But truth be known, we get a little bit wrong sometime on occasion. But just with the effect of working with people and circumstance and sin, sometimes it can render the spiritual leader with like a comatose state. Grace is gone, and really they're kind of living out the profession, the vocation of leading, but the grace isn't there. And why is that? Because they've just burned so many times. They look at the people as just a group of rebels. If you are a spiritual leader and you're at that place, there are some things that you can do. Number one, you can recognize that the problem is you as much as it is them. If you're going to be a leader of people, then you're going to be a leader of sinners. And there is no church or synagogue, there's no congregation somewhere where it's a whole lot better. At the end of the day, we work with people, and people just don't have problems. Sometimes at the core, we are problems given our nature. Realizing that, are there things that we can do to keep ourselves from getting at this place? Sometimes to have a good friend in ministry to talk to or confidant helps to waylay some of the tensions that would naturally resonate within the leader. It's good to have a confidant, someone to talk to vent, to get some perspective. That's a good thing. And if you don't have, I'd encourage you to get. Sometimes a retreat is a good thing too. Just get away. Now, I know what it's like when you're a spiritual leader. It's hard to get away because you take the thoughts and anxieties with you. God knows I've done that on more than one occasion. You're just kind of twisted up inside because of people and circumstances. You can vacate the community, but you just carry those tensions along with you. And in a world of emails and texts, it just follows you wherever you go. Sometimes, if you just can't get the better of it, if you're just at a place, listen, I don't like them and they don't like me. Listen, sometimes you just need to cut bait and move on. You know, Jesus said, when you go into a town, if you enter into a home and if the grace is there, stay there. But if they pull the grace back, just wipe the dust off your feet and move on. Just get out of Dodge, and don't go out angry too. You know, just find a place where your gifts will be better appreciated. I believe, we go where we're invited, we stay where we're appreciated. It's not all perfect, and we try and work through things. But sometimes it's just time to say goodbye. You don't want to be at a place where you're just angry and you're looking at people in a negative fashion. You rebels. No, you still want to believe in people. Scripture says that love believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things, and we need to have some of that resonating within us. Now, we're looking at a text here about a leader and applying it in a way that relates to leaders. And if you're not leading a congregation, you still are the chief executive officer of you. You are the CEO of you. This is your headquarters up here, and you are an entity that's functioning in the world. Try not to just snap out at people, and keep a little more grace going in your life. Bad things happen when you just come unglued. And take my advice and take it to the Lord in prayer, and find another way, but don't snap out on people. Hold yourself together. Well, Jeffrey Seif here. Thank you for going with me on the journey. I will see you again next week, Lord willing, same time, same station. Ciao.